God bless Doug Poppa, an honest cop.
See, we did it, Doug. You don't come out, you don't buck the system. No matter what the reason is, you just can basically keep your mouth shut.
The high price one cop is paying for telling the truth.
From Las Vegas, Nevada, this is the Doug Poppa Podcast, episode 167 for Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. What you just saw up on the screen, folks, is the double homicide of Sidney Land and Nehemiah Kaufman that occurred on October 27th, 2016. That's when their bodies were found in their southwest Las Vegas apartment. It's an unsolved double homicide to this day, and this month marks 8 years and 5 months unsolved. And as you know, there's a lot of podcasts and stories that I did for the Baltimore Post-Examiner on the murders, and the links will be in the description section of that. The topic of today's podcast, pretty disturbing. The title, I'm limited to certain characters on YouTube, but the title on YouTube is Cold Case Detective Cracks 2017 Video Recorded Rape Case Involving Racing Champ that LVMPD Ignored. And we'll get into that. First, folks, I want to put up on the screen here, and I'll read what you're seeing going across the screen. Okay, folks. On January 11th, 2023, 3 Las Vegas men, residents of Las Vegas, an indictment came down from Clark County Grand Jury charging Christopher Reindl, and it's spelled Reindl, and the court case has it as INDL, a.k.a. REINDL, but the right name is Christopher Reindl, REINDL. Christopher Reindl was a 6-time world champion offshore powerboat racer based out of Las Vegas, and he also had some companies out here. He was also a boat builder. Christopher Reindl, Joseph Anthony Paterna, Paterna, a friend of Reindl's, and another friend, Christopher John Alloca, Alloca, all residents of Las Vegas at the time, were indicted on 26 felony counts, 1 count of first-degree kidnapping, 1 count of attempted sexual assault, and 24 counts of sexual assault. The indictment came down just shy of 6 months from the date of the alleged crime, which was February 2nd of 2017. Now, folks, Christopher Reindl passed away about 6 months after he was indicted in July of 2023. According to news reports, he passed away in his sleep. He was 47 years old, and he was visiting his sister in Ohio, and that's where he died. He died while under indictment for for 26 felony counts, as I just described. Now, a month later, his Las Vegas-based attorney, Robert Draskovich, filed a motion in court to close the case, which was granted because, folks, you can't try a dead man. But at the time of his death, he was under indictment for those 26 charges. After the indictments came down, all three men were, the bail, I believe, was $500,000. Reindl made bail. Joseph Anthony Paterna, he didn't make bail, and he's still incarcerated to this day, the date of the podcast, in the Clark County Detention Center on a $500,000 a bond bail that he hasn't made. And Christopher John Aloka also made bail at the time of their arrest after the indictment, and he's on electronic monitoring house arrest. Now, like I said, Reindl is not going to trial because he died. Jury trials are set for July of this year, 2025, for Aloka and Paterna. And prosecutors from the Clark County District Attorney's Office was going to charge both of those men in one jury trial. But they filed a motion to sever. So now there'll be two separate trials, and they're scheduled for July this year, 2025. And like I said, Paterna, Paterna, is still incarcerated in the Clark County Detention Center, and you saw that going across the screen here that's looping. So the question is, and that's on the screen right now, is incarcerated in the Clark County Detention Center. Okay. Now, why were these guys walking around for over 5 years and weren't charged till almost 6 years after the crime? Now, the information that I obtained not only came from court records, also came from sources. So these are allegations, folks. Okay. How did all this happen? Okay. Now, on February 2nd, 2017, allegedly, the female victim and a male friend of hers were leaving Stoney's, I believe it's Rockin' Country nightclub here in Las Vegas. The female was highly intoxicated, couldn't even stand up. At some point, Christopher Reindl approached the male and the female and allegedly intimidated, threatened, from what I was told, the male, that the female, the victim in this case, was going to go with him. And the male friend backed off. The female gets into a vehicle with Reindl and another male who had nothing to do with any of these charges because he was driving the car, dropped him off at Reindl's home. And Reindl's house at the time that he owned in Las Vegas was located at 8626 Haven, Haven Street, Las Vegas, 89123. Now, I know you're going to say, how do they know about all these charges? Where are all these charges coming from? The woman was allegedly intoxicated. Okay. Well, what happened was, we don't know. I don't know what happened at the home. All I know is that she was taken to his house and she was highly intoxicated. What happened at the house was that Reindl, according to the grand jury indictment, sexually assaulted the victim. Paterna, who allegedly was living or renting a room from Reindl, a friend of his, he was at the house. He participated in the alleged sexual assault. Now, I understand that the woman was pretty much comatose. I know you're going to ask, how do we know that? Just hang on for a second. At some point, and this went on for hours, allegedly Reindl calls his other friend, John Aloka, and allegedly told him what's going on, come on over. Aloka comes over, and he participates in the alleged sexual assault of the female victim. Now, during this time, from what I understand, the female's male friend is trying to contact her multiple times by cell phone. She's not answering. At some point, and I don't know how the circumstances, how this happened, but either she woke up or whatever, but she ends up calling the friend, the male friend, to come pick her up at Rindle's home. And that happens. Now, a female, especially if you're intoxicated, and allegedly that's what this woman was, a female would know if she was violated. She's driven by the male friend to the hospital, her University Medical Center. And this ordeal at the house allegedly went on for several hours. So she goes to UMC. Of course, they call the police, and patrol unit comes out. They call the sexual assault detail of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Then sexual assault detective, from what I'm told, Robert Garris, spelled Garris, responds and conducts an interview with the female victim. For reasons unknown to me at this time, about 1 minute into the recorded audio interview with the victim, Garris's recording stops. Okay? 1 minute in. So keep that in mind. Subsequently, Detective Garris and Detective Patrick Denny, Denney, execute a search warrant, I believe with the sergeant and other police personnel, at Christopher Rindle's home at Haven Street. During the search warrant, they discover that this alleged sexual assault was video recorded by Rindle, and allegedly the whole thing's on videotape. Like I said, this went on, multiple assaults over multiple hours from what I'm told. So they go back. Of course, it's logged into evidence. And for reasons unknown to me at this time, this is in 2017 now, February, Garris does nothing with the case. Nothing. Okay? As a former police officer investigator, I don't know what happened. I don't have the answers to this yet. Okay? But they have the video evidence and other evidence they took out. They look for evidence of the woman being in the house, and they have this video recording and the statement also from what happened, how she got over to the house. Nothing's done on this case, like I said, for unknown reasons at this time. Now, 5 years go by, ladies and gentlemen, over 5 years. Then in 2022, a detective/investigator with the Las Vegas Metro Police Sexual Assault Cold Case Unit comes upon the case while reviewing cold case sexual assault cold cases. And female detective investigator investigates. And she makes contact, I'm told, with the victim. This is now over 5 years. She locates the video recording, which allegedly this whole sexual assault at one of ours is on this video recording, and talks to the victim. She still wants to press charges. And the detective, I'm told, the cold case detective investigator, notes in her report that Detective Garris's 2017 audio recording of the victim stopped about 1 minute into the interview for unknown reasons. The case is then forwarded to the Clark County District Attorney's Office for prosecution. The case is presented to a Clark County grand jury. I believe there was two that went on. It went on, it's, I think, December of 2022, and another one, or the same one, in January of 2023. And the grand jury, after reviewing, I'm told, all this evidence and the video, returns indictments on Christopher Rindle, Joseph Anthony Paterna, and Christopher Aloka on the 26 counts, 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of attempted sexual assault, and 24 counts of sexual assault. And the indictment is filed in the 8th Judicial District Court on January 11th, 2023. Like I said, just 1 month shy of 6 years since the crime occurred. This is pretty disturbing to me. And I got some stuff here that I can't discuss, but okay. After Reindel's death, and this came from Facebook, and let me get up on the screen here. This was posted on, I don't know what that one. Okay. That was posted from Facebook by one of his friends, and it says, you can see 6-time world champion Chris Reindl, and then have the logo from the sexual assault cold case unit of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. And let's do this over here. Let's just keep that up over there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm told at the time the cold case detective / investigator, and I had her name, it's an Asian name, and I don't have it here in front of me, but my hat goes off to her and anybody else that helped her in this case, because they, like I said in the title, she cracked the case that was basically dormant for unknown reasons or ignored for over 5 years. So a good job to her. Now, at the time this cold case detective is investigating the case, Detective Garris is no longer in sexual assault. I heard he was in the recruiting section as a detective doing background investigations. And when this thing surfaced with the cold case, I'm told that Detective Garris, Robert Garris, was bumped out of the detective division and put back in patrol at an area command because allegedly something wasn't right on why this case didn't go anywhere for over 5 years. That's what I'm told. And about the same time, Detective Patrick Denny retired. Now, whether he retired because he was just going to retire or retired because something was coming down on this, I do not know that. But I'm told that Garris was bumped out, I guess in 2022, of the Detective Bureau and put back in patrol. So obviously something wasn't right with this case. And I already said that. Reindl, Chris Reindl, that's how you say his name, Reindl. He passed away at age 47 visiting a sister in Ohio. He was still under indictment for those 26 counts when he died. And of course, you can't try a dead man, so we're not going to hear from him. The jury trials that are coming up in July, if they go, because I understand looking at the court records that they're in some negotiations that aren't working, maybe to do a plea deal or something, but if it goes to trial, it should be an instant trial. And I talked about the motion to sever, to try them separately, and that was granted by the court. And the one of the prosecutors on the case is Stacy Collins. That's with a K, Stacy Kollins. She's I think she's Chief Deputy District Attorney, and she's one of the attorneys assigned to the case, the open case on Paterna, and with some other prosecutors, and Aloka. Now I'm going to get into something here with Stacy Collins in a second. Now, I'm not sure I got everything here. I'm going to put this up on the screen because back on July 4th of 2018, let me get that off the screen there. Get this up on the screen for you. Sorry my voice is going, but the allergies out here are just freaking disgusting. And I don't take any medication, so I got to suffer through it. Okay, I want that one. Get this full screen over here. Okay, what you're looking at over here, ladies and gentlemen, on July 4th of 2018, I wrote a story on Detective Garris, on Detective Garris for the Baltimore Post-Examiner. I wrote over 350 stories for them, made 160 stories just on the Las Vegas massacre, more than any other single journalist in the country. And the title, as you see, is Las Vegas Cop Says Police Supervision Not Supportive of His Off-Duty Response to October 1st Massacre. Now, I heard Robert Garris is a good detective, so I do not know why this case didn't go forward for 5 years and then went forward almost 6 years later. But I'm hearing he was a good detective. And then I say in the first paragraph, and I'll have the link to this in the description section, it's an interesting article. And I said, Las Vegas, a detective Robert Garris wrote in his report that his supervision did not support his decision to respond while off duty to the worst mass shooting in modern American history. So that's a good story. And get back over here. Put me back over here. And it'll be in the description section. And as you all know, this is another, get this up on the screen here. There's another exclusive investigative report from my podcast. And as you all know, my investigation broke the story on Las Vegas Metro Police Sergeant, I forget everybody's name. I'm going brain dead with these allergies are killing me. The sergeant who was making the false arrest on the Strip, and I'll have the link to that with some follow-ups that I did. Kevin Menon, Menon, I think is the way you pronounce his name. I broke that story 3 months through my investigation before any of the local media picked it up. And I broke the story in 2022 that got some attention recently because of the lawsuit on Paula Prado Zuniga, who was a 74-year-old lady who was stabbed 68, 69 times while Metro Police heard her screams for help and wanted to go in to save her life and were told to stand down by the sergeant. That was another investigative news story from my podcast that we broke. And just want to get that out there, as is this one. And there's a lot of stories that I broke on my podcast and a lot of stories I broke when I was writing for the Baltimore Post-Examiner. And I still contribute to them. They still post some of my podcasts on their site. I'm sure they're going to post this one because it's interesting. What I can't figure out is, get that off the screen there. And like I said, okay, great job from the cold case detective investigator and whoever else assisted her on that case. And this guy allegedly, not that I care now, but like you see it on this, a 6-time world champion. He was offshore powerboat racer, and he also built powerboats. So he's a celebrity in the powerboat, and there's a lot of stuff. If you go on the internet, you'll see everything about him. This story and his indictment and this whole story never made it to the media. I don't know why. And I've been working on this for a while, so I want to get out. I got a lot of stuff I've been working on. I know I'm backlogged on a lot of stuff. I haven't done a podcast since last year, but I had some problems with different things. And so we got a lot of stuff coming out. And also go to my Twitter X account at Doug Poppa 1, Doug Poppa Podcast, because I post a lot of information when I get about things going on in the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. And the Doug Poppa Podcast has broken more stories about the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department for years, or more than any other news media outlet in Las Vegas. And if anybody wants to contest that, they can call me and talk to me, and that is the truth. And you could see the stuff on YouTube, and you could see the stories that I wrote. And we broke a lot of stories when I was writing for the Baltimore Post-Examiner. Now, my voice is going here because of the allergies. Let me get that off the screen there. I want to get this up on the screen because I said Stacey Collins. She's one of the prosecutors on the case. I want to get this up on the screen. I'll tell you why I'm mentioning her. This is just some trivia. It's nothing to do with the Reindl case. I think it's pronounced Reindl. That's the way he pronounces it in one of his YouTube videos and news things that he was on there. Let me get this up here. Play this for you. Okay. What you're looking at over here is, it'll go on a loop. Episode 54 was another exclusive investigation by the Doug Poppa Podcast. It was published on June 10, 2021, and was titled Vegas Police Cover-Up Uncovered. Negligence Led to Kidnapping, Rape of 12-Year-Old Girl. And I broke that story based on my investigation, things I was told by sources and other individuals. And then I followed that up with episode 56, which was titled Sheriff Lombardo's Cover-Up of Police Incompetence That Led to Kidnapping, Rape of Child. And that was part 2. And I published that on June 25th of 2021. And then I did a third one mentioning it, and it's episode 82 from January 13, 2023. And that was titled Lombardo Directed Cover-Up, Botched Investigation Led to Kidnapping, Rape of Girl. And that was part 3 of that. Now, why am I talking about that? Let me get that off the screen here. Because the suspect, Antoine Perkins' trial, and he's in jail, he was convicted of the second rape and the kidnapping of the girl, but not the first one. It was a hung jury, and they never tried him again on that one. Anyway, all the links will be in the description section, so if you're not familiar with this, but that's another story that I broke. On June 26, 2023, his trial was starting, and during jury selection, Stacey Collins was the prosecutor on the Antoine Perkins case. And on June 26th of 2023, she told the judge that she wants to ask the prospective jurors, from the jury pool they're picking there was going to go to the case, if they ever seen my podcast, okay? Because I talked about it in actually 3 podcasts, and those all came out before the trial in June of 2023. And the judge granted it, and several jurors who, from my understanding, that said, yes, they saw my podcast and knew who I was, and they were dismissed from being jurors. So now that this case is going on, I'm mentioning this Reindl case and the other 2 guys. Well, Reindl's not being charged because he's dead. I wonder if she's going to do the same thing if this goes to a jury trial. I asked the prospective jurors in jury selection, had they seen my podcast? So that's what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a lot of stuff that I've been working on for a long time, and some of the stuff takes a while to do, and it doesn't all concern the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, but most of my work does, because I'm based out of Las Vegas, and I have the police, law enforcement, and criminal justice sources who talk to me over the years, and you all know that. I've been doing the podcast now, I think, over 5 years, and then 5 years writing for the Baltimore Post-Examiner. And like I said, I'm still a contributor. They still publish the links to my podcast on some of the stuff that I do. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it right now. Like I said, I got a lot of questions on this as an investigator, a former police officer, criminal investigator, is why this case didn't go forward. There's a lot of reasons why sexual assault cases sometimes don't go forward. Sometimes the female victim is embarrassed and doesn't want to prosecute and says no, but I understand that this was not the case. I don't know why they had the video evidence and why this thing remained dormant or ignored, like I said in the title, whatever words or semantics you want to use, until the cold case investigator detective from the Las Vegas Metro Police cold case sexual assault unit was researching, picked it up, and did an excellent job, like I said, in cracking this case. So as I get more answers or we get closer to the trial, if it goes to a trial, if these guys don't plead, we may get some answers on this. I still got some information coming in I got to verify, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's it, folks. I believe I said everything I had to say, and everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but these 3 men were charged in January of 2023, indicted on those 26 charges. And one more time is Christopher Reindl died while under indictment. He was 47 years old. Allegedly, the news report said he died in his sleep. I don't know anything about that. You go on the internet and research it. And so the 2 gentlemen facing jury trials are Paterna and Aloka, unless they take a plea deal, and then it won't go. So anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for episode 167. And I believe I said at the beginning, if I forgot to say it, it's April 2nd, 2025. And this is the Doug Poppa podcast from Las Vegas, Nevada. Monitor my X account because there's a lot of stuff on there that I can't do podcast every minute. And I got much more things coming out. I got several investigations going on relating to the police department out here. So we'll see what happens with those in the future. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
If I wouldn't do it all over again, I would take the badge and I would leave it on somebody's desk and get out of police work.
One man who confronted truth and consequences.